Hello everyone, it is finally time. I have a couple of reading wrap-ups to do for readathons, and this is one of them. So this is one that was hosted on Discord, and the Discord channel is Stardew Valley. I will try to link the Discord in the description box. There's, out of all the Discords that I follow, there's only one so far that I've come across that I didn't have, quote-unquote permission to, like when I hit invite people, it's like I'm not the moderator or something. All the other ones I have been able to. So I don't know if this was that one or not, but if I can, I will link the Discord in the description box. So this, I need to do a Google search on this one because it is a video game, and I know nothing about this one. I don't play video games. There are some that I would. This one I don't think I would like, but where I don't play this, I don't know anything about Stardew Valley. I can still participate in this because the prompts aren't, there might be hints to the game, I don't know, but it's open to everyone. Whether or not you play video games, whether or not you play Stardew Valley, you can participate in these readathons. This particular one, I believe, took place over the month of January. I am filming this on May 9th, and I finished this one a couple of weeks ago. I don't remember exactly when. So in April, I finished this one. Stardew Valley, it says, you are invited to your grandfather's old farm plot in Stardew Valley. Armed with hand-me-down tools and a few coins, you set out to begin your new life. So this one is not personally one that I would play. If I'm going to play a video game other than The Sims, which I do very rarely, I do play The Sims on my computer. But if I were to do a video game like on a Game Boy, a Nintendo DS, or whatever handheld game device, I think that's a Switch is the big one now, which I don't even have. I would be searching for puzzle games. So something like, I don't even know what they're called, but it's like where they give you a thing. It's like in this row this row of 20, there are 11 squares that are colored in and the rest are not. And you have to figure out which squares are colored in. And then it's like a pixel game, and so then it forms a picture. Murder mystery games, I would do those types of things where you have to try and solve that. Those are the types of things. I like the logic stuff. So those are the types of games that I would play. But this looked really cute. I liked the prompts when I first saw this one, and so I thought I'm still going to participate. There's been one, I believe these have been like every other month so far, so I'm still working on the other ones to try to complete them. But this one was called Festival of Ice. So again, this one was again, I believe in January, but it was the Festival of Ice round. No, not every month, because there was one in February, like a Festival of Love. So anyway, Festival of Ice. There were, for this round, 14 prompts. I will not be going into exactly what these books are about. I may give a sentence or two synopsis if I do, but I will tell you the star rating, how many pages my edition was, and how many hours the audiobook was on standard 1x speed. When I listen to audiobooks, it's usually, depending on the accent of the narrator, between 2.5, sometimes 3 stars, because some of them I feel like they're really, really slow. So 3 stars, 3x speed. But 2.5 tends to be my average when I'm reading along. If the narrator has an accent, or an accent to me, I know I have an accent, to like other people that are not in my area, especially if you're like from another country, then I would be the one with the accent. Anyway, I hope that makes sense. Sometimes, depending on the accent and how quick the narrator speaks, I have to bump it down to 2x speed or just a little less. So the average is generally around 2.5x speed for me to listen to while I read along. If I'm not reading along, it's closer to 2x speed or less, like 1.75 or 1.5. So all right, let's go ahead and get into this. So prompt number 1 was Bullfish. This is to read a book that intimidates you. For this one, I went with The Kiss Quotient by Helen Hoang. I really enjoyed this one. This was 314 pages. I gave it 4 stars, and it was 9 hours and 36 minutes for the audiobook. This is by Helen Hoang, and the reason why this one intimidated me is because of the hype. And I was like, and plus the science. Science I find interesting, but it still intimidates me because science tends to go over my head. The science, or the math, excuse me, because it's the little pie thing, math. Science and math, things in STEM tend to intimidate me because I don't know how heavily focused those subjects are going to be, and they tend to go over my head. This did not go over my head. It was just like, that's her job, but it didn't get into the nitty gritty of the job, if that makes sense. Just kind of was very surface level, and which I appreciated, not being, felt like I was dumb when reading the book. It's an adult romance. It is spicy, so there is open door sex scenes. And the other reason it intimidated me is because of the hype. And sometimes the book sounds really good, but sometimes the more hype there is, I get nervous because I don't know if I'm going to like it as much as everyone else, and I don't want to be disappointed. So that's the other reason why I say it intimidated me. Prompt number 2 was carp. So these are, looks like, I think these are all fish. Anyway, a carp. This one was to read a 5-star prediction. For this one was an easy one for me, and I went with 5 Furry Familiars by Lynn Cahoon. This is a fantasy cozy mystery. We are following Mia, who owns Mia Morsels, and she is called a kitchen witch. So she is a witch. They live in a small town in Idaho, and there's a lot of witches there, and they have powers. That there's a grimoire that's mentioned. There are animal familiars, things like that. But it's your standard cozy mystery. Someone dies, and the main character inserts themselves in the investigation to try to figure out what's going on. So, standard cozy mystery. I have given every book in this series a 5 stars, and this was no exception. So because I gave books 1 through 4 5 stars, this was a 5-star prediction. It lived up to it for me, and I gave it 5 stars. This edition was 271 pages, and the audiobook was 7 hours and 42 minutes. Prompt number 3 was Chub, and this is to read a book with an odd number of pages. For this one, I went with Foundryside by Robert Jackson Bennett. This is a fantasy. We're following a gal. So this gal does these jobs. She comes across this key that she can communicate with. She has these abilities to communicate with inanimate objects. There's this thing called scribing, and it basically makes these objects, they can have anti-gravity, they can float, they can shape shift, they do all this sorts of stuff. So I gave this one 4 stars. It was 503 pages, and it was 19 hours and 34 minutes. And this is a trilogy, and so I look forward to eventually picking up the second book. Prompt number 4 is Halibut. This is to read a book that has lots of tension or a twist. I'm going with a twist. I just went with a cozy mystery. It's not lots of tension, but it does have twists like any mystery. It's just not high stakes like a regular mystery. This is book number 2 in the A Writer's Apprentice mystery. So for this one, we are following, I'm blanking on her name, Lena. And she lives with this writer that she absolutely loves, and she is helping this writer kind of edit and write another story. In one of these books, I think it's this one, she gets credited for helping. So it's like a book by, in this case, it would be Julia Buckley and then whatever the other author is. But obviously it's a different name. So standard cozy mystery, again, someone dies. And this is fun. So this is a contemporary cozy mystery. There's no fantastical elements or anything like that in this one. This one I gave 5 stars. It was 276 pages, and the audiobook was 7 hours and 53 minutes. Next is Herring, and this is to read a crime or a thriller. I went with a thriller from my library, so this book is now gone, so I will insert an image. And the book that I read is The House by the Cemetery. by Lisa Childs. I gave this one 3 stars. It was 279 pages. When I read this, there was no audiobook available. For this one, the patriarch of the family passes away. It's a thriller. You're trying to figure out if the patriarch was killed by someone close to the family or in the family, or if it was natural disasters. And so there's this detective who's there. It's told in third person. The detective's trying to figure out what's going on. You have other people that have attempts to murder on their life, attempted murder on page. So people are trying to kill other people. There's secrets and lies that unfold in a thriller. And yeah, it was good. And I gave it 3 stars. Okay. Moving on, prompt number 6 is Largemouth Bass. This is to read a book with a strong antagonist or an anti-hero. For this one, I did a Google search and found that the book Magician's Gambit fit this one. And so let me look up, for those of you who don't know, because I keep forgetting what an antagonist really is. So, definition of antagonist. An antagonist is a person who actively opposes or is hostile to someone or something, like an adversary. So this definitely has an antagonist in it. So basically the villain of the story, I guess. And for this one, I went with Magician's Gambit. I gave this one 4 stars. It was 346 pages, 11 hours and 6 minutes. The reason why I have an image inserted is because I read this via ebook. I have since this book, I have finished the series, thoroughly enjoyed them. I think they all got 4 stars at the very least. I have since purchased my own physical copies of these so that I can go back and read it and underline stuff that I find stands out to me. So I will be rereading this book at some point. I just don't know how near to the future, but I really enjoyed it. So my edition, again, I gave this one 4 stars. The edition that I read was 346 pages, and the audiobook was 11 hours and 6 minutes. And this was written by David Eddings. Prompt number 7 was Midnight Carp. This is to read a book that has at least 50% black for the cover. So this one, I went with a library book. I went with That Night in the Library. I gave by Eva Jurczyk. I'm not quite sure how to say the last name. I gave this one 3 stars. It was 270 pages and it was 8.29 hours. This one is like dark academia. It takes place at a university. It takes place in the library overnight. They go, drugs are involved, there is a death, and it's this like 5 groups of people. And so it's like, did someone sneak in, or is one of the 5 out of this group, I think it was 5, but is one of the group the murderer? And are they now trying to kill off the other people in the group? So that's what it is. For me personally, I enjoyed it enough to keep going because I wanted to know what was going to happen and who the murderer was, but I did feel like this was very repetitive. So, and was just too long. I think this would have been better as a short story, but that's, again, my own personal opinion. All right, prompt number 8 is Perch, and this is to read a book that is 400 pages or more. For this one, I went with Orange Volume 2. This is a manga series by Ichigo Takano, and it's a contemporary, is it tagged as sci-fi or fantasy? I'm not sure which one it's tagged as well, but it's mostly contemporary. The only fantastical like element is that it involves kind of like a parallel time where it's like these kids are in school, so they're teenagers, so it's like their adult versions of themselves write these letters to their younger versions of selves saying, on this day, this event happens, this is the choice you made, do it again, or no, you're going to do something else, because they have this friend here who's right here, who at some point commits suicide. Okay, so there is the unaliving on this one. And this one, they are writing to their younger selves to try to prevent that tragedy from happening. So, yeah, this one is a compilation. So so this is like out of the Orange series, this is like 4 of the books combined bound up into one. That's why there are only 2 volumes for this edition. So This one's volume 2, so it's the complete collection. So again, this is like, I don't know, 4 of the orange books in here. This one I gave 4 stars, and it was 523 pages. No audiobook, and for mangas I generally don't. I'm going to start looking to see if there's an audiobook for mangas and graphic novels, but I don't read or listen to the audiobooks for those if there are any. So I haven't been looking, but I will start keeping an eye out. Okay, prompt number 9 is Pike. This is to read a book with a weapon on the cover. For this one, I went with Network Effect on my reader, my Kindle. This was written by Martha Wells, and it is part of the Murderbot Diaries series. I gave this one 3 stars. It was 350 pages for my edition. The audiobook was 12 hours and 47 minutes. The weapon I am saying is the Murderbot. So there's an image of the Murderbot on this and on the cover, and he is used as a weapon. He's got like these little guns in his arms or something. He does mention that. He's got extra, like very strong strength, and he can be used and is used at times as a weapon and as a weapon to defend the people he is tasked to protect. So that's why I am counting this one. So it's not like an axe or a sword or a gun or anything like that. The actual Murderbot I am considering a weapon. Prompt number 10 is Red Mullet. I'm going to have to look up what these fish look like. Some of them I do know, like I have heard of carps and herrings and halibut, but other than that, like the red mullet, what the heck is a red mullet? So I'm going to have to look that up. I hope my editing me is inserting what these fishes look like because I just think it'd be interesting. Anyway, okay, so prompt number 10 is Red Mullet. This is to read a book that has 2 or more people on the cover. For this one, I went with a novella on my reader, and I went with Jedidiah and Abby. This is written by Emma Morgan. The series is 7 Brides for 7 Brothers. This, if it is based on the movie from I don't know how long ago, I believe it was from even before I was born, like the 60s or something. Could be wrong on that, but then it's loosely based, and it's more of a this is a historical Western romance. And the series, again, is The 7 Brides for 7 Brothers. And I gave this one 4 stars. It was 121 pages. There was no audiobook available when I read this. And I would even go as far as to say this is a Christian fiction, as far as there is reference to the Bible a couple of times. It is very clean, so if you do not, but it is not heavy on the Christian fiction as far as the extent is just, there's the Bible and maybe reference to God one or 2 times. But it is a clean romance. And it's a mail order bride for this one. So if you like books with mail order brides, there you go. Prompt number 11 is Sardine. This is to read a book that you can finish in a few sittings. So I finished this in 1 or 2 sittings, 3 at the very most. I went with Keedie. This is written by Elle McNicoll. This has autism rep, and I believe the author is also on the autism spectrum, if I remember correctly. Yes, she is, because I use this author for the readathon that I host, and the Discord for that's always in the description box. So for Autism Reads. So this is the prequel to some kind of Spark or something, a kind of Spark. So this is the prequel. So for Keedie, we are following the big sister of the main character we follow in A Kind of Spark. This is a middle grade, and this I would say has LGBT rep. It does not come out blatantly and say it. It gives the vibes that it is like a lesbian representation, but she's still trying to maybe figure things out. And it is stated, there is a line at the end saying, if I were attracted to boys. So that definitely means, you know, that, yeah, they're part of the LGBT community. I gave this one 4 stars, and it was 207 pages. Or it's a middle grade. Definitely was able to finish this one in a few sittings. Prompt number 12 is Sturgeon, and this is to read the oldest book from my TBR. And I went with another one of David Eddings' books. I went with, this is the Belgariad series. I went with Castle of Wizardry. I gave this one 4 stars. It was 375 pages. The audiobook was 13 hours and 4 minutes. As far as it being the absolute oldest book, probably not, but it is definitely one of the older ones. In fact, let me Google it real quick. Castle Wizardry by David Eddings. And I didn't go off of my overall TBR. I went with like the oldest in a particular stack that I wanted to get to for the month or something like that. So it was the oldest in that stack. And this was published in 1984. So it says originally published May of 1984. So I was not even a year old. So I was just a little newborn baby. And that's the one that I went with for that one. Okay. Prompt number 13 is Tiger Trout. This is to read a book with a colorful cover. For this one, I went with My Roommate is a Vampire. Pinks, purples, blues. Colorful cover. Not like overly bright cover, but it's still very colorful. And this is written by Jenna Levine. This is a paranormal romance. It is a romance between a human and a vampire. And it is a slow build, so it's not right out the gate. There is talk of like might be attracted to him type of inner dialogue and things like that, and how handsome or stuff they are. But this one, she needs a place to stay, and she ends up rooming with him because his friend put the apartment up on kind of like Craigslist and put it very, very cheap. So this was 337 pages. I gave it 4 stars and was 8 hours and 59 minutes. And the last prompt was Tuna. This is to read a book that was released in 2024. I went with a library book. I read October by Gregory Bastianelli. I gave this one 3 stars and it was 373 pages. For me personally, this one was a horror, but I would have wanted it to go just a little darker. For me, it just towed the line. I can see how this would definitely fulfill the horror element for some people. I loved the atmosphere, small town, and it takes place over the whole month of October, so I really did enjoy that. I just wanted it darker. I wanted more gruesome. I wanted more gore. I wanted more stuff, but there were dark paranormal aspects of it. I just wanted it darker. That's me. So that was my own personal thing, but I still overall rather enjoyed it. And those are the 14 prompts and the books that I read to fulfill this. So overall, I read 4,554 pages for this particular readathon. On standard one-time speed, that came to 94 hours and 6 minutes for the audiobooks, and that was 54 stars issued. So out of all the books, 4 of them got 3 stars, 8 got 4 stars, 2 got 5 stars. So the average works out to be per book, 324.64 pages per book. And, oh, excuse me, and it wasn't 94 hours. It was, I have 2 totals here, and the 94 does not include like one of the books. So it was a total of 99 hours and 10 minutes listened, if it was on standard one-time speed. So that was a total of 54 stars issued, and that worked out to be a 3.86 star average per book. Let me know. Did you participate in the Stardew Valley Readathon Festival of Ice? And were you able to complete it, or did you miss a couple of prompts? No worries there. And out of all of the books that I mentioned, have you read any of them, or have you read any of the books by any other books by any of these authors? Definitely let me know. Talk to me in the comment section below, and until next time, stay true to yourself and enjoy a good book, and I will talk to you later.